Okay, folks, so I want to show you how to make a background layer for your project. And I'm using a student project example here. This is Nathaniel's project. And I want to show you how to make a layer that looks like, so in most of these pictures, there's a layer that's faded out in the background. So here you can see this layer of buildings behind the main layer that you don't see all the details of that layer. So it's like set behind the main layer but in front of the background layer, and it's sort of grayed out. You don't see it as distinctively as you see the front layer. So that's what we're going to make today. Okay, and I chose a student project here because this is a great looking project. I'm going to show you how to add layers so that it's a little easier for you to put this layer, because right now your picture is a little bit complicated in that it has these are all the layers it has. And it's hard to get something, if you can imagine, we're getting something behind these buildings, but in Nathaniel's project, in front of his son and the background layer. So what I want to do is add a layer here, okay? And I want to take everything that is in the single layer here, okay? There are two, the ellipse and the rectangle are his son and the background layer, so I'm not going to include those. I just want to include everything else, just as a way of like distinguishing between the front and the middle and the back. So I click on the top one. So I clicked on the top one. This is his trees. And I'm going to simply hold down Shift and click on the bottom one. And I don't want to include anything that's in the background for him. Okay. And then I'm going to click and drag it into the layer there. All right. So everything that is highlighted right now is in this layer. So imagine I have three pieces of paper. I have the front paper and I have the back paper, and I want to stick a paper in between. Okay. And then now I'm going to unlock these two backgrounds and I'm going to add another layer. And I'm going to pull the layer below the first layer and add these two things in. So if you double click on them, thank you to the student who taught me this. If you double click on them, you can label them. So we'll just call this the top layer. We'll call this the bottom layer. And what I want to do is I want to make a layer that's in between. So I grab this layer, I pull it so that it drops in between, and I'll say middle. Okay, and on this layer, this is where we're going to make our buildings. Okay, and it might be easier for you. And actually, no, that's easier to do this way, because this way you can see. So if I'm on this layer right now, let me lock the other two layers down temporarily. Okay, that means they're not going to move. You should sit autosave, but since I'm working on another student's project, I'm not working on my project, I just clicked cancel. So you're just going to make a series of buildings right now. So, and they don't have to have any distinguishing features on them. I'm going to show you how to gray them out. So right now you're just going to make a bunch of buildings in the back. You can make them different sizes. You can make them different shapes. I'm going to make them in a little boring just for the interest of time here. Okay, notice how because I've put my layers on correctly, they're going exactly where I want them to go. Behind the first layer of buildings, but in front of the background layer. So you can really see like the effect that they're going to have. Okay, like this. And again, you can make yours more interesting. You can look at the inspiration photos to like figure out how you want to put them there. We just want, in a city, there's more than just one layer of buildings, right? There's more than just one set of buildings in the front and then nothing behind them. So here I'm going to make like a wall of buildings. And again, you can like mess with the shapes. Of course, you know how to click on one. You click on the corner here. You uncheck the uniform corners. You get the option of deciding what you want each corner to be. Let's say the top left corner, I want it to be beveled. Okay, that means I can take my sub-select tool, grab it now, and make sure that, yeah, sometimes it unchecks that. So yeah, I want that to be beveled, and I can pull that down to be beveled. So maybe I want to see more of the sun like that. Okay, so now I have this layer that's in white. Okay, what's nice about putting everything in the layer is I can make them all one color. So I can click, hold down shift, and click the top, hold down shift, and then click the bottom, and it selects everything in between. And I can change my color just like, let's say I want that color right there, but I want it faded out. So what I want to do is change the opacity of it. So this is the opacity factor right here. So if I said 50%, it's going to make it more see-through. Okay. So right here, I can kind of increase and decrease this as I see fit, but you'll see that like in a lot of the inspiration photos, the layer in the back doesn't, you know, it's a little bit more see-through than the layer in the front. It's like either a little bit lighter so your eye isn't drawn to it, but it is a detail that's in the back. Okay. Now, once you have this layer, you are going to, so in my case, let's see. Oh, these are actually aren't in the layer that I want it to be. So I am going to drag it into the folder that's the middle layer. It's not going to make any impact because it was still sitting where it needed to sit. But once you have that, you can unlock the top layer and relock the middle layer. And that way they're not going anywhere. If you did want to make changes, let's say that I wanted to like pull this in because the overlap is making it look kind of funny, then I could do that and then collapse it all again and then unlock it. Okay. And remember, this is all in your top layer. You could make more layers than just 3 if you wanted to, but just label them so that you understand what they are. Okay. And that's how you make a layer in between. So you make it look more, you know, your city has more buildings than just like the 6 in front or whatever. So most of the inspiration photos have, this one doesn't, but most of the inspiration photos have like this layer in the back that you see peeping through the other layers. Okay, so find a picture that you like and sort of build off that. Like this one will have some layers in the back right here. You could put other things in the back if you wanted to, like you could put mountains in the back. I'm going to show you how to do trees and clouds in a different video, but that's how I want you to experiment with layers because a lot of graphic design has like a lot of layers. It's about layering things on top of each other. All right, have fun.